Travel is more than just ticking off countries. It's about the people, the culture, the food, the moments. I'm Pippa Hudson, and on Wonder the World, I invite you to join me every week as we explore destinations both near and far, with the help of fellow adventurers who share their unique travel stories. Listen to my podcast wherever you get them.
Relationship issues?
Relationship talk.
On 702.
She's like a co-host now. Leigh Joy, dating coach. She joins us right now. Leigh, always fantastic chatting to you. Are you
so
good?
Lovely to see you. I am buzzing. I went last night to watch Inala at the Mandela Theatre.
Yeah, how was it?
I am so proudly South African.
Yeah.
It had me in tears. I had me jigging in my seat. It was phenomenal. I really I think they've actually extended an extra night tonight.
Really?
They were sold out.
Really?
So maybe there are tickets left over. I highly recommend. And Braamfontein is so clean.
And I mean, haven't you been there in a while?
I haven't been there in decades. I'm giving away my age now.
Brummies. Yeah, I was in Market Theatre last week, and Jeremy Fugeng had a lovely production there. I also loved it to bits, and I often go alone whenever I see a theatre production, because whenever I go with people, I think they're not going to get it. And I just want to absorb every little thing of it. Isn't it refreshing to see a production on stage?
And I was sitting there and thinking, like, being on watching them on Broadway, and how the world must embrace them, because emotion goes beyond words, beyond understanding of words.
Yeah.
And I felt like there's one song, and I wish I knew what the lady's name was that was singing it. I was in tears.
Really?
It was just the power of her voice, and obviously the whole cast, and the crew, just incredible.
Yeah.
But to captivate us, one outfit for the whole production.
Really?
So no change in outfits.
Yeah.
Intensity, the power of their voices, the strength of their dancing. It was just
We loved it. So we will do a theatre review show some other day. We'll put time aside for a theatre review show. And for now, a different kind of emotion, forgiveness, especially in a relationship. Leigh, you're a dating coach. This must be central to everything else, because couples fight almost every single day, if not every hour. And there are issues that we go on a collision course with as couples. We clash on the dishes, the socks being here, and there are two far bigger things, infidelity and other things. What is forgiveness, and what's the role? And I'm asking genuinely, because I think we see it differently. What is forgiveness in a relationship, and what is the role of forgiveness in a relationship?
Yeah, I think this is just to dial it down into a very tender space, right? And
yeah.
Forgiveness is it touches on the very nerve of who we are. And our core woundings usually get triggered when somebody has done, let's say for argument's sake, somebody has lied to us, right? Our partner has lied to us. Excuse me. And we go and if we don't understand where the pain is actually coming from, we're not actually able to forgive. So I've done some really powerful work in this space, that our core woundings are created in childhood, either through abandonment, rejection, abuse, humiliation, or rejection, and at least betrayal. And from those core woundings, there are lies that we believe about ourselves. So if I may use myself as an example, I was given up for adoption, and the lie that I believed about myself is that I was unwanted.
Yeah.
And loved and unseen, right? So whenever anybody did something against me, I took it very personally. Read the book by Don Miguel Royce called The Four Agreements, and he talks about how important it's not that we shouldn't take things personally. But I think that when we do take things personally, it's a signpost of a lie that we're believing about ourselves. So let's say, for argument's sake, somebody lies to me about something. My partner lies to me about something. And I then believe, well, I'm not wanted because he feels like he needs to lie to me.
Yes.
Whereas if I'm like, actually, him lying to me has got nothing to do with me.
Most of the time.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if I need to forgive him because he's doing it to himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a very banal example, very basic example. If we're talking now about the bigger things of infidelity and stuff,
Yeah.
it also flies into that space. Or if my partner cheats on me, that means I'm unwanted, unloved, and unseen.
Yeah.
And if we go into the space, well, okay, thank you for showing me parts of me that I don't want, I don't love, I don't see. Because that's where we can unfurl or unhook or de-weed those lies within ourselves. Sure. So when people do things to us that hurt us, where we feel like we can't forgive them, I often, even in my own life, and it's not easy, but I first go and look at what has actually happened.
Yes.
What is triggered inside me, lies that are not true about those core woundings. And I do very powerful work with my clients in understanding those core woundings, because they're like, geez, the billboards of our lives, right? And they really show us in any situation when we've been triggered or offended, what lies unhealed within us. So now I look at it, if somebody does something that offends or upsets me, as an opportunity to heal myself.
Yeah.
So let's say, for argument's sake, somebody cheats on me. There's a journey, and I've experienced that. There's a journey that I went through in understanding that there may have been conditions that I contributed to within the relationship that person felt that they needed to cheat.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because I'm unwanted, unloved, or unseen.
Yes. And on that note of forgiveness, does forgiveness mean I should not defer to this situation again if I have forgiven you? In your example, you could have lied to me, you could have cheated on me, or you could have hurt me in any other way. Me demonstrating my forgiveness, does it mean that I am not going to revisit this situation again of hurt, that place, that scene, that crime scene, and I'm giving air quotes here, does it mean that I won't refer to it again if I've genuinely forgiven you?
Yeah, I think that's often what people struggle with, right? Is if I forgive you, that means that I am okay with what you did. And if I forgive you, I'm giving you the opportunity to hurt me again. And I believe that forgiveness isn't giving permission in those two situations. If I forgive you because you've cheated on me, I don't have to stay in the relationship. But in leaving the relationship, I don't have to remain angry with you. I don't have to remain bitter, because I then keep myself tethered to you, even though I'm not in relationship with you. Or I may forgive my partner for cheating on me and stay in the relationship, but then I equally need to let it go so that I don't stay tethered to that which hurts us.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is such there's a beautiful book written by the late Archbishop Tutu and Mpo, his daughter.
Yeah.
Is it called The Book of Forgiveness or Forgiveness?
I know the book. She's not a bishop, isn't she? Yeah.
Is she a bishop?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Wow, what a beautiful book.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole process that they take you through, and quite a thin book. And it was there. I grew up in a really tricky household when I was young and adopted, and there were these deep feelings of shame of who I was because of how I was treated. And in that book, they speak about sometimes we have to forgive 1,000 times before we can. I mean, the Bible talks about it 7 times 77, right?
Yeah.
Because the hurt feels so big. And sometimes we just got to forgive and let go and forgive and let go until that.
So forgive one thing many times before it eventually dissipates or you are okay with it. Leigh, I want us to come back to that, but I truly have to take a break. It's 19 minutes after 11 o'clock. You may want to participate in this discussion, share your thoughts, your encounters, your experiences. You are most welcome to do so on 011-883-0702, or you could just send a voice note to 072-702-1702.
Issues
Relationship Talk.
on 702.
23 minutes after 11 o'clock. Welcome if you've just joined us. We are speaking to Leigh Joy, dating coach. The importance of forgiveness in a relationship. All of us have been hurt, and we've hurt others as well, especially in a relationship. How do you deal with it? How do you get over it? Some people hold on to this burning coin in their palms for eons. Ages and ages. You are angry and you don't talk to the next person, and that's valid, right? Because that's perhaps how you feel at the time. But what's the role of forgiveness in the relationship? Does forgiveness mean that you stay after you've been hurt? I don't know. You share with us. Have you forgiven someone and you thought this was completely unforgivable, but in a relationship you decided to forgive them? Leigh Joy is my guest, and she's joining us right now. She's a dating coach, and we are speaking about forgiveness in a relationship. Leigh, welcome back. I am just thinking about the role of forgiveness in a relationship, in a sense that some people are very proud to hold on to the hurt. They see that as some strength, as a positive quality to assert their dissatisfaction on an issue. And they feel that it has to be expressed until they are okay. Is there a time limit on which we could say it's enough, let go? It's truly enough. You've expressed your dissatisfaction. You have registered your pain and how you felt it. But now enough is enough, let go. Is there a time frame that we can use along those lines?
I think that I've got a frog in my throat. It is so annoying. So I know that was nightmares is going on radio, swearing and having a frog in your throat. Excuse me.
No worries.
Brene Brown speaks very powerfully about three reasons why people fight.
Yeah.
One is care and connection. One is respect, value and respect, and the other is control and power. And I think you speaking here about time frame, I think that in the work that I've done in my own life and with my clients, I've realized that only when we come to the nub of what's actually upsetting the person, let's say for argument's sake, somebody doesn't close the doors. I mean, she uses the example of the cupboard doors that don't close.
Yeah.
And I think we're only able to forgive the other when they get that it's not about the cupboard doors. It's about that you making me feel like you don't care about me, and my connection to you isn't important.
Yeah.
So as soon as the other gets that, the other gets like, oh, okay, so it's not actually the cupboard doors that irritate you. It's that when you were a child, you had to do everything on your own. And when I leave the cupboard doors open, it makes you feel like you're having to do everything on your own. And if you can come to the place where it's like, well, me leaving the cupboard doors I'm not sitting there going, I don't care about you and I don't want to be connected to you.
Yes.
I'm just absent-minded. I just in the rush to get to work.
Yes.
And I hear what you're saying and I'm going to work on it. So that time frame can only really work once there's understanding. When I say that, although, Thabo, there's another beautiful meme, is that sometimes we're going to have to accept the forgiveness, the apology that we're never going to get. We have to give ourselves that apology.
Yeah.
Because to set ourselves free, right?
Yeah.
So to what degree do we share intelligently and lovingly and compassionately towards ourselves and the other, the nub of what's upset us, so that there is connection and care and respect and value and power and control. so that we can both grow from it and we can both get closer because of it. I never understood this. I always thought that, because I'm a chronic people pleaser, I thought that conflict separated people. But only did I realize that the way that I was fighting separated me. And that I think we've done, I think I did with Clement the fight languages, and how if we can intelligently and kindly fight with each other, we can actually create intimacy. We can create connection and intimacy.
Yeah.
And that the overcoming conflict, building those bridges and building those foundations of moving through conflict actually builds a fantastic foundation in a relationship.
Sure.
So we mustn't be scared of conflict. We mustn't be scared of places to forgive. They're actually opportunities for us to build stronger relations.
You know, Desmond Tutu's book, There's No Future Without Forgiveness, that's the book that he wrote just after his experience at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. He mentions something very consistent with what you are saying now on forgiveness. He says, does the victim need the contrition of the perpetrator to forgive them? And he answers himself. He says, no, because some people will never ask for forgiveness, but you need to forgive them in order for you to be okay.
To move on.
After the news headlines with Mbali now, I would like to ask you, are there strictest unforgivables in a relationship? It's exactly 11:30.
Relationship Talk on 702.
26 to 12, and at 12 it would be Midday Report with Mandy Winner. For now, we continue with the discussion, and on Relationship Focus every Friday between 11 and 12, we look at various elements that affect relationships. Today, special focus is on the role of forgiveness in a relationship. Leigh Joy is my guest. She's a dating coach. My name is Thabo. I'm in for Clement. We're together till 12. Prior to the Eyewitness News, Leigh, I asked, are there unforgivables in a relationship? Are there things that we shouldn't, we mustn't, and perhaps we can't forgive? So
let's go into the more triggering conversation. So those on air, just be gentle with yourselves when you're hearing this. But if we're looking at abuse, right, we're looking at rape or physical abuse or emotional abuse, there's a psychic, emotional, energetic tie that is created between the victim and the perpetrator. And when there's unforgiveness, there is, if you imagine that being an umbilical cord, the hatred goes up and down that umbilical cord. And like for argument's sake, if one is raped, there could be a feeling that triggers those core woundings that I was speaking about, that unwanted, unloved, and unseen. And if I don't go, if I may use the example of Jesus when he was on the cross and he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And if we can go into that space in ourselves and offer grace to that person, that maybe, I mean, most of you are like, are you kidding me? If somebody rapes another person, they must know what it's doing.
Yeah.
But I don't think, if we had to offer that person grace, and that if they really, really knew the impact of what their abuse was doing and the effect in perpetuity that it would have, would they still do it? We've got to offer that little gap, that little base, that little small breath of grace, because when we do that, we set ourselves free. And the next step would then be to, well, how can I possibly forgive them? Okay, I give them the grace. I understand that maybe they wouldn't have done what they did if they had known the impact that it had on me. How do I still forgive them? And in those cases, I've asked God to forgive them.
Yeah.
Because I found it so hard. I was like, Lord, I can't. I find it too hard to forgive them. Can you forgive them?
Sure.
And in that way, that helped me to let go.
072 702 1702.
Good morning, Tibos and your guest today. In my own experience, I also find out that time plays a very important role in forgiveness as well.
Yeah.
When something is still fresh, you discovered something you don't like about your partner, but you decide to forgive them and stay in the relationship, it's going to hurt for some time. Although I don't need to forgive it 1,000 times before I'm okay, but I realized after some time, and if you really, really have forgiven them and understood why they did what they did, then time makes it a bit easy to a point that you can hardly even remember it. Or even if you force yourself to remember it, it doesn't hurt as bad as well. And I guess also it depends if you discover the thing that they did by yourself or if they come to you. I've also realized that if they come forward with what they did before you discover it yourself, it also makes the forgiving process a bit easier, if you will.
Hello 702, hello everybody. My perspective on this topic, quite an interesting topic. I was married for about 20 years and I divorced with my husband. The problem that I have now is because I was struggling financially. Whenever I have to pay my son's school fees, my university school fees for my son, it really brings back that hurt and the pain to say, okay, look, he's moved on to somebody else and looking after somebody else's kids and he's deserted his own. So that hurt still comes back and kicks in, and which is, I think, will go away once my son is over, because he's finishing his university this year. Maybe I think I will heal. I've forgiven him, but whenever schools open and I have to pay school fees, then that trigger comes back and I become very angry yet again. So it's really difficult. It's tough.
21 minutes to 12. Leigh, your response to those two voice notes?
So the first caller, thanks to you both for calling in. The first caller made me think of forgive but don't forget.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important that we do forget, because if we keep letting it run in our minds, we're still attached to it. So I've started praying, like, help me to forgive the person, but please, God, let me forget it as well, because I don't need it to run around in my head. The second caller, so I've been divorced twice, so I've been in this space where, and both my ex-husbands got married, and I haven't experienced it so much in my second as such a painful thing, but they both got married, they both moved on, and they both gone on to love other people. And I think that what was really hard for me, and not so much anymore because I know where it comes from, that of course when someone moves on, there are other priorities that they have other than me and my children. And my ex-husband's money situation's got nothing to do with me. It's not a if I have to allow it to determine my value, that's when I get angry.
Yes.
So if my ex-husband's not able to pay something for my child and I internalize, I take that personal, that I'm allowing him that control over me.
Yes.
Whereas if I'm like, actually, all money is God's money. It's not my money.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being given the power to be able to pay the things that I need to for my daughter. I set myself free from that energetic tie that I talk about. Because it's that chewing the old fat is like being stuck in that loop.
Yeah.
And only I can set the boundary with myself by setting myself free from that.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a massive problem in the world where, and I don't want to sound sexist, but unfortunately it is the situation that a lot of fathers don't take responsibility for their children after divorce. And a lot of women do sit with the responsibility.
Yes.
So I'm not minimizing that. But I'm just saying, how do we, are we going to allow ourselves to stay as victims in it, or are we going to set ourselves free and see that's got nothing to do with our value as to whether a man is paying for our children or not?
Voice notes, Abel, 072-702-1702.
Morning, Thabo and the guest. Thabo, in terms of forgiveness, remember that no one is perfect. In terms of marriages and couples, we need to forgive one another because two people combined, they are imperfect. Everyone has a mistake, but learning to forgive each other, that's where most relationships do last. Like marriages for 20 years, there's always been forgiveness in those marriages. Without forgiveness, no marriage will last, my brother.
Hi, Thabo, and your guest. Wonderful show. Mapari from Rodiport. How do you forgive someone who's doing something, the same thing, like the same thing? How do you forgive that person doing the same thing?
Over and over and over again. Do you still forgive them?
So I think that that's a question of access, right? Like we can have, when somebody keeps repeating a pattern, and we still give them access to us, then the forgiveness lies at our own feet, right? Are we allowing ourselves to be in an abusive situation? And the forgiveness is not so much about what they're doing against us, but us allowing it to continue by giving them access to us.
Yeah.
Is that making
it does. So when do you refuse them access?
Yeah. So if somebody's repeating a pattern and they're clearly not willing to change, then it's your responsibility to step out of that relationship, because otherwise you're allowing them, like let's say for argument's sake, someone's in a physically abusive relationship.
Yes.
They can forgive the guy or the woman, because we know that happens both sides, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But that's not the biggest forgiveness that needs to happen is the person themselves, because they stayed in the situation and allowed it to happen.
So you forgive the person and move on and shut the door.
And shut the door and move away, because ultimately the wound is actually within yourself, because you're allowing it to happen.
Yeah. I wanted to find out about unforgivables, because I'm thinking at times people may think in a relationship that I'm being petty by not forgiving this. Of course, there are extreme situations that you've just mentioned, and I don't want to trigger anyone. And there could be others, like infidelity as well. Not that that is of any smaller quality or quantity. But at which point do you say, I will do anything for love, but I won't do that, to quote one famous singer?
Yeah, I think it's good to know your limits.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to know your limits, and it's good to know where your boundaries lie.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful movie on Netflix called The Forge.
Yeah.
And it's about men that mentor boys, young men. And there's a situation where you would think that it's unforgivable, and a bit like the truth and reconciliation process. You get to see how where there is forgiveness, there can be incredible healing, and it can actually affect a community.
Sure.
So we're human, right? And pretty, I nearly swore, pretty ugly things can happen to us, right? That was so good. Well done, Leigh. You pulled it back.
I would have loved to hear that. We're at BCCSA. That would have been fantastic.
So some pretty yucky things can happen to us. All of us, like unforgivable things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that a true test of character and the true test of grace, and love to ourselves and to our fellow people, is acknowledging the truth of who we are, and offering the grace of forgiveness sets us free.
011-883-0702, 011-883-0702. Derek, I'm coming to you, and I'll take your call just after this.
Relationship issues?
Relationship talk
On 702.
Straight to your calls. Derek, you've been holding for some time. Thanks for your patience. The floor is yours now. Derek in Centurion. Hi.
No problem. Thank you, Thabo. Man, just want to find out from good afternoon to you and your guest.
Hello.
If I've been naive or being kind of stupid, because I recently found out that my person, she's been cheating on me. We did sit and talk about it, so I'm kind of forgiven it. But the thing is, every time I'm with her, I see this thing just keeps on coming back, and it actually affects my performance, in terms of intimacy. So I don't know. The thing is, I do love her. I love my kids, and I'm trying to forgive her. But at times, I feel like I've been stupid. I could have just called it quits. I don't know how you guys can assist in that regard. So it's something that has been very difficult for me for quite some time. We're staying together full time, but every time she comes back from work, I come back from work. It's like cold in the blankets. But I really don't seem to be enjoying or feeling anything. Because every time I'm trying to do anything, that memory just keeps on coming back, and this is over a year already now. So I'm really not too sure what to do with this. That's my question.
No. Derek, please don't hang up as yet. Leigh, do you want any follow-up questions to Derek?
Hi, Derek. Thank you for calling in, and I'm so sorry the pain that you're going through. It's not an easy thing to experience. I really admire you for remaining in your marriage, and the picture that I get is when we replay visuals or memories in our mind like a movie, it's important to walk out the movie room. So walk out of the film studio with the movie room. Is that the right word? The movie theater.
It is, yeah.
Sure.
To put a boundary down on your mind to stop playing those images over, because we torture ourselves with them, right? There's a very real process that I take clients through, where both the husband and the wife need to put down boundaries with themselves and with each other in order to heal. But not only that, there's a very real process in the person that cheated, that they show real remorse, and they don't only show real remorse, but their actions show real remorse. So if that hasn't happened or isn't happening, you will feel like you're being traumatized over and over again, because you're the betrayal that you've experienced from your wife. You're actually betraying yourself by staying in that situation. Sure. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying that's what can happen, Derek. So please, if you guys are needing some support, please feel free to contact me. I would love to work with you.
Great stuff. Let's go to Isabel in Johannesburg. Isabel, welcome. Morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning. So I just wanted to delve into the topic of unforgivables in a relationship. And I think it's a bit tricky because, I think Leigh also mentioned that it's also your responsibility to walk away from a relationship if it's either abusive or it's just getting a bit too extreme. So in my situation, I'm with a partner who told me to get an abortion. And because I'm still in love with them, I feel it's a bit tricky to walk away, because how do you then forgive that and stay? Still continue being in love with the person. So I think my question is more on how do you forgive and walk away?
Okay, Isabel, hang tight. Leigh, over to you. Don't go away, Isabel. In case Leigh wants to ask you one or two questions, please hang around.
Thank you so much for phoning in, and I'm sorry that this is a situation that you're having to face. Did you say, how do I forgive and walk away, or how do I forgive and stay?
I think it's kind of both. So how do I forgive and stay because I still love him? Or is it more, do I forgive and walk away?
This, I guess, abortion is also very much a values thing, right? So how do we value life? And that's a... So when somebody says have an abortion, I wonder if we can depersonalize it and say that maybe this person is saying, I don't have what it takes to be a father right now. It doesn't mean I don't love you and I don't want to have your child, and your child doesn't mean anything to me. Yeah. He's just being honest with where he is at that time. And we're taken into ourselves where we're like, well, I'm not wanted, I'm not loved, and I'm
Yeah.
not seen. So I don't want to get into the discussion of whether it's right or wrong to have an abortion, because I think that's up to you and your partner to discuss that. I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to
have a judgment call on.
Thank you very much. So I think that I think that the discussion needs to go deeper between you and your partner as to why he doesn't want to have an abortion. At least why he does want to have an abortion. And if you guys get to the crux of what it is that's going on for him, and have hold space to understand where he's coming from, I think you will then be able to decide whether you want to stay or go. I think the ambivalence for you right now is because maybe you don't know.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with a man and some are like that, even women are like that use abortion as birth control, then of course one is just going to be like, okay, clearly this person doesn't want commitment. They don't care about me, and I can move on. And actually, I don't even want to hold unforgiveness towards them because I get tied to somebody who doesn't value me or the relationship.
Yeah.
Does that help, Isabel?
Yes, definitely. I think as a female, let me not put gender to it, but I think personally it's easy to think that, oh, this person doesn't love me, they don't value me.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for the advice, because if you have a discussion and get into the reason of why they're suggesting an abortion, I think the decision to forgive and stay or forgive and walk away will be a bit more clearer, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, because I've been in a situation where the husband wanted to keep the baby and the wife wanted to have the abortion.
Yeah.
And the man equally felt rejected. It's like his baby,
Sure.
and she didn't want to have the baby. So it's not just like, thank you for saying it's not just an agenda thing.
Leigh, very quickly, your contact details for those who'd like to reach you.
WhatsApp is 079-525-8991, and then you can get hold of me on all socials, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook on Leigh Joy Inspires.
Leigh Joy, dating coach.